zurück mit
I am excited, super excited to have you on, BJ Russell, the Smashing Pumpkins gear guy. I love you followed me one day and I was like super stoked because I had like watched your videos on YouTube because I think it's fun to watch those songs get played. Like I'm a Pumpkins fan. I like to see those songs get played. And it's really nice because it's kind of up close. Like if you see the Pumpkins stuff, it's usually from a fan, it's far away. But this is like right there. And it's cool for people that love the Pumpkins and want to follow along and do that kind of stuff. How did you get into how old were you when you got into the Pumpkins?
My earliest thing was 1994, 95. I remember that we had a little game room in our little town, and there was a jukebox, and I remember the title Mayonnaise. I was like, I've got to hear this. What is this? And
Yeah.
I played it, and I loved it, but I went a couple years, I didn't remember the band, so I ended up seeing them on PBS On Tour. I don't know if you remember that. And they played Bullet and Porcelina, and I was like,
Wow.
that's what I want to do, and that did it. And I started learning from there.
That's amazing. Like that was just instant like that.
Yeah, it was instant watching the crowd jumping, and it was crazy. I was like, that's it. That's the one.
That's
And
really cool.
Billy's just screaming his brains out and stuff. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. There's not a lot of, I can't say in my life, there's a lot of incidents where I say, I remember the first time I heard a song, right? There's too much music, too much stuff out there. And it's kind of funny because I do remember the first time I heard a Pumpkin song. I remember the exact moment, and maybe it was just because it was such a cool moment. I just left my house. I turned up the road. It was the morning, and you have to, where I lived at the time in San Diego, there's a lot of trees, and the way the light was filtering through the trees was like really beautiful. And the first song I heard was Drown.
Wow,
And
that's a
so
good one.
imagine like just driving in the morning with light filtering through trees and hearing Drown. And I was like, oh, that's really good. And I remember the DJ said the name of the band, and I swore, I'm like, oh, I'll totally remember that, and I forgot it, right? I'm like, I totally forgot the name of the band. I was like, I'll totally remember that, and then totally forgot it. And then maybe it was like a month later, there was an article in Rolling Stone, and it was Eddie Vedder, right? And he was on tour at the time. They were with the Pumpkins, and he had said something, and I remember the placement in the actual article, and he just said that he had kind of talked to Billy, and Billy told him like just sing like as you are, don't try to whatever. And it said, Billy Corgan, Smashing Pumpkins. I'm like, oh, that's the band. That's the name. I couldn't remember. So I remember going and getting the album after that and being smitten. What kind of music were you listening to before that?
Well, my mom was she was a country DJ, so it was just I was more into like Van Halen and stuff,
Yeah.
and I wasn't playing guitar yet, but Billy was the one. I saw him do that thing where he just grabbed the top of the headstock and like bear down on it. I was like, that's how I want to play. So, but yeah, I mean, I've heard so much country. Back then I was done.
Yeah. But country is like there's such a lovely, I'm a fan of old school country,
Hmm.
and I think it's really cool that there's a song, when Glenn Campbell comes on and Southern Nights comes on, my son and I will stop whatever we're doing whenever it comes on the playlist, and we just grab each other and we start dancing,
Hmm.
and we're like, it's just like great moment because it feels good, like old school
Hmm.
country feels good. It just makes you feel good. I grew up watching Hee Haw. I don't care. Like, don't judge me. I loved hee haw. I wasn't, I was born in Kansas, but I didn't grow up in Kansas. Like I grew up in San Diego. Like we immediately left because my dad was Army, so we immediately left. But maybe I've got country roots. Who knows? Country music's great.
Yes,
Do you remember? So would you say that Pumpkins was like that band, the first band that just you said, "This is my music. This is it."
that's it. That was it. Yeah, instant. As soon as I saw the crowd jumping and him just screaming his brains out, that was it. That was the power.
When was the first show that you went to?
It was May 10th, 2000, and my parents and my I think at the time he was 13, I was 15, 15 or 16, and we waited outside for 8 hours. I remember looking into the glass, the front door, you could see Jimmy's yellow drum kit. Um, and my daddy actually went out to the van and he napped for most of the 8 hours. So it was time to go in. So he caught back up with us. But I remember specifically the security wasn't ready. They didn't realize how big they were. In 2000, they were still just massive right then. It was like 8 blocks of people behind us, and I think they only had like 3 or 4 security guards across the front. So when we all charged to the stage to get up front, they made everybody sit down, and for some odd reason they made the entire floor sit down on the ground. And as soon as the lights went down, everybody jumps up, and my daddy had to grab mama and pick her up, and so we were on the rail. She was trying to protect me, my little mama trying to protect me on the rail, and
Wow.
I made the big mistake of wearing a long sleeve Zero shirt in a really hot concert. So
Yeah.
I lasted about 5 songs up front. Just I couldn't breathe. Oh, and it was so funny. I specifically remember it's the weirdest thing when they started playing. They started with Glass and the Ghost Children, and Jimmy and James walked out, started everything, and then Billy comes walking out. Crowd goes insane, and I just remember him standing right directly in front of me, and he looks down. He's got his big black Gibson, and he just looks down at me, and eye to eye, he goes, "Looks just like he said. This is how it's done, kid." Is what I always took from that. It just stuck. It
Wow.
just stuck with me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
great show. It's still the best concert I've ever been to. But
That's
and they
amazing
were
because I asked you to come on this episode because I'm super excited. I said, Machina, I have no apologies. It's like my favorite Pumpkins album. I love Machina. The reissues coming out. And so like I wanted to talk about it because I always felt like Machina didn't get a lot of love. Um, and not because it was a bad album or anything, but the timing was crazy because that is when Napster came out, right? Like Napster was really big in that time, and all of a sudden people just, oh, free music, right? So people stopped buying albums. So you going to that era, that being your first concert and having your like family there, that's so cool. Like that's super awesome. Like what a memory.
yeah,
Wow.
it's still the loudest show I've ever been to. I just remember the guitar tone that he had that night was just it's bone crushing. And the weirdest thing was ending up with that amp. I bought that amp from him, and which I had to sell it. Somebody offered me $15,000. I was like, it's $15,000.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
uh, and I do miss it. But yeah, it was crazy. I got to
If
play
it's
with it
if it's
for
meant to be, it'll come back to you.
yeah, maybe one day.
Like the Gish
But
guitar, right?
yeah, right, yeah,
I think that's such a good, awesome core memory. Like, I just love the fact that your mom and dad were there. Like, it was like a
yeah.
family experience.
They
Were
were
they
always
fans of the
like that.
music?
Yeah, yeah. Mama loves Disarm. Mayonnaise is her favorite. They've listened to. I mean, I've woke my parents up 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. No telling how many times learning to play all the songs. But
Yeah,
yeah. Over the years, which my daddy always said, don't mess with him, let him play. And he had to work. He had to drive an hour and a half, 2 hours every day, and still didn't care. So they were always really supportive of that.
that's really amazing. And did you always grow up in Mississippi?
Yeah, yeah, born in Charleston, Mississippi.
Was it, were there a lot of people into the same kind of music as you, or was that area just generally like Southern
Just
music?
country, and we ended up having a little bit of a rock scene around Tupelo. Tupelo to Memphis was pretty good for, I think it was about 2008, 2009. We kind
Yeah.
of built a rock scene around there, and that was about it.
I was trying to think of like any, bands like outside of country bands that came from Mississippi. And off the top of my head, I couldn't think of any.
There are very few. Three doors down.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, I saw them not long ago, actually.
So that okay, so you go to that, and how did you feel after that concert, after seeing them for that first time, and you were already absolutely loving them?
Well, I
Then
was,
then what happened?
and what's crazy is right after that they announced the breakup, and it just heart's gone, just really right now.
Yeah,
But and we tried to get tickets to those last two shows, and it just wasn't happening. It's
yeah,
gone. But yeah, no, I mean, my mind was blown from that show. It's just like this is how it's done.
yeah. I mean, it's the album's such a great album. I know, and I'm not saying anything that he's not spoken of. It was a very tumultuous time in his life. The energy of the band, energy of his personal life, um, and the whole like that energy in that time. Like I said, Napster was just coming out and stuff like that. Um, the label did not want to release Machina 2, and he did actually something that a lot of people like Pumpkin fans know, but I don't think like a lot of people in the world know. But they released a digital album basically for free, and they're probably one of the first. So while Napster's or Metallica's over here suing kids. I don't know if they're suing kids. I've had a beef with Metallica for years because of this, and it could be disinformation. But like, I was upset hearing that news at the time that like Metallica was going like the rumor at the time was they were suing some 16-year-old kid for like $600,000, and I'm like,
Mhm.
what?
Oh
Like
yeah,
so that kind of annoyed me because I remember thinking at the time, you guys never made a mixtape. Like, come on, right?
everybody did
Here,
it.
on the other hand, and it wasn't talked about, was the Pumpkins going, here's our music, you know you just give it away, guys, share it.
Double album, take it.
Yeah, and
Which they were
it
they
wasn't
were
really
always like
talked
that
about.
though. They
Yeah,
had the open taping policy and stuff. That was really generous. Like we love that. Like I've got a stack of bootlegs just out of this world. You know, uh, so they've always been that way.
yeah, and it's great because those bootlegs came about, and you can, if you went to certain like record shops, because obviously it was illegal, right? But they would have the secret little places where like if you knew, you could look for all sorts of crazy bootlegs, and they were amazing for people that didn't have a chance to go and see them, didn't have the money to go and see them, weren't old enough to see them, weren't close enough, whatever. Those bootlegs were essential for people. I think nowadays it's like it's so easy for kids to get music compared to when we were younger getting music. How long ago did you start your YouTube page? Because it's got a huge following.
Yeah, my YouTube page, which I think it's the Instagram is the one that's got, I think it's 3,500 followers. It's been a few years. Trying to remember what year it was. I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And it's
Yeah,
slowly built and slowly built. Like every time I post something, it's like 1,000 views and up. Just quick, it's instant.
you make it look easy. It's fun to watch. It's really fun to watch because you make it look easy. It's not easy. I've you know I've seen this. I've seen them play a lot of times. It's not easy, and you make it look really really easy and really natural. And that's why I think that people like watching you do that.
Oh,
So
I
Machina,
try.
you've played Machina or songs off Machina a bunch of times.
Yeah.
How hard is it, would you say, the difficulty level? Like if somebody said, okay, I like that song.
Um, I don't know. It's like they just kind of flow. They just kind of flow for me. The Zeitgeist stuff is pretty hard.
Yeah.
It's tricky.
Yeah.
And the main thing with their playing is the movement. It's the weaving with the drums and the guitar, and you know that more than anybody. I'm sure it's that interplay.
I think being fortunate, and it's something that Billy had brought up on a different podcast that I was on with him, um, that I had this great fortune to be in the studio for a lot of Zeitgeist being recorded. And it wasn't until that moment seeing them work together that it was like, oh, I get the magic. There is a magic between the two, and it's very unspoken. It almost seems like they're on some kind of like paranormal, like, synchronicity where like sometimes words are not spoken. It's just like it's magic to watch. Like I could just sit in the back corner and just watch, and um you could like just seeing the magic happen. So I don't think a lot of bands necessarily have that, you
No,
know.
no, they're all
um
playing the clicks and everything else. There's no feeling and movement anymore
yeah. Do
in
you
certain
think
bands. But
that, how do you think, because a lot of people sit there and say when the band broke up and when Zeitgeist came about, people, you were there, people were like, where's Darcy, where's James? um and so there was so much of that in the conversation, but it was like people now go back to Zeitgeist and they're like, oh, that's a damn good album. It's like, it was always a good album, right? Like, just people wanted to take a negative spin to it. Do you think, though, that the energy when you listen to, like, because I know that you watch a lot of the recent shows and stuff like that, do you think when you have James coming back into it and everything is in a good place, that the energy is different when you're watching them play now? Because I love watching them play now because they look like they're all having fun.
yeah, yeah, they're having a blast now. It's
Yeah.
it's it's natural.
Yeah. I mean, it's so great to see. Like, I was watching a Pixies concert last night of something that was not too long ago, and I was like so happy to see that just comfortability where everybody was like really happy.
Yeah, and I got to see them on. I saw them in Nashville on the reunion tour with James, and it sounded right. And
Right.
Jeff was great too.
Yeah.
Um, he was a big part of it. This I'm glad they went with three guitars. It
Yeah.
fills everything out to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good watch.
I don't think that it was a, a detriment. I mean, I don't think that having James and Jeff there at the same, I think that that was awesome because
Hmm.
I think that Jeff is just such also a solid guitar player. And to watch the trajectory of when he started and how he was, and that must be like a master class. Like he took a master class
Yeah.
in, like, and to come out of it on this other side, and he makes really incredible music now, but it's so fun to see where he's going with that after basically, how many years of this masterclass. Um, I've loved every iteration. It doesn't really bother me when people change band members. Like, some people really don't like that. I just look at it as different iterations and let's see what the energy comes out at. But I do think in the Pumpkins it's so much better with James, and or not James, Jimmy and Billy. But I
Right.
love Adore. But I love Adore.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And Oceania, loved it. I got to see them in New York on that tour, and Mike Byrne was killing it. Just, I think at the time he's 20, 21. Just mind blowing. But then you have Jimmy.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
yeah.
it's it's hard to follow that swing. There's I don't think anybody else has it.
I I think that, and it's just my opinion. I think that his name is not brought up enough in terms of one of the greatest drummers of all time. I
I,
just don't think it's brought up enough.
I'll say the.
Yeah.
I mean, this
Like, I
this
mean, it is so fun to watch him no matter what he's doing, whether he's doing his jazz stuff or, I love watching this person play. And maybe it's because there was that jazz root to it and all, because I grew up listening to jazz because my dad was into big band and jazz like that. So it's so much fun to watch them. Do you have a favorite Machina song?
All right, there's all right. I'm gonna give you two because it's hard to pick. The live version of Heavy Metal Machine, the 2000 ish version,
Yeah,
and Age of Innocence.
that's a great song. Heavy Metal Machine's such a badass song though, right? There's a
Sabbath all over it.
there are so many. I think that's another thing that like I love about Machina. There's so many like badass songs. Like I love that they can construct a song that's like super super delicate. Something like, Galapagos has like really beautiful delicate parts, and then you have, just heavier parts. But I love that, like just coming out and having something like Heavy Metal Machine. It's just awesome to me. Um and I loved the opening of Machina. I think that was probably one of the best openings of an album.
You know, I'm
Like,
not dead right off the bat.
yeah, right away, right?
Ripping. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that, a lot of people at the time too wanted it because for whatever reasons, the whole feigned rivalry between the two. But a lot of people I remember at the time were like trying to compare, oh, is he trying to diss like Kurt, right? That was like this stupid narrative at the time of just people. And it's like, what are you talking about? And it was also what I love about it was the concept now that we've learned of the evolution of Zero to Glass as a character. And for people that aren't Pumpkins fans that are listening to this that don't know anything about the Pumpkins, Billy came out, and I don't know if it was like I don't know how many years after Melancholy or if it was during Melancholy. I honestly don't know, but he explained that Zero, that he is a character. It's this caricature he plays, and by the time it gets to Machina album, he has now turned into this character called Glass, and he thinks that I believe God is sending him radio signals to play, and there's this whole thing, and then it goes on to the next album, right? But it's I loved that a lot. I remember some people going, what's he talking about? And I'm like, oh, that's so cool. And they
Hmm.
had these like manga characters, which eventually was going. I think that they were going to have a series with these manga characters, and then I believe the label like shut down that they were going to explore like having like animation series. And I was like so bummed because I thought that the manga characters look super cool. I love like animation. I thought it was almost kind of like a new age Gem and the Holograms, but it was the Pumpkins. Do you
Right.
remember that cartoon Gem and the Holograms?
I do.
So yeah, so it's kind of like that, but it's like, okay, this is Glass. He's a rock star, and they have, I don't know. And I was like, why not? Like Mr. T had a cartoon, MC Hammer had a cartoon. I was like, why not the Pumpkins?
Yep.
And it
And
made total sense.
yeah, and Kiss and all that. Yeah, why not?
It totally made sense to me. It wasn't like, I mean, it would be funny if, I don't know, some like Red Hot Chili Peppers had a cartoon. I no, actually that'd be cool with Flea in it, right? I would watch a cartoon with Flea in it.
Yeah,
Not so much Anthony, but I would watch it for Flea.
I get that. Yeah.
So, what's your favorite song to listen to?
I can't say all of them. Probably Everlasting Gaze.
It's just fun, right?
It's a
It's
jam.
super fun. Yeah, it's a jam. Do you have favorites on Machina too?
Yeah, Dross probably my
Dross,
favorite off that one.
Dross is my favorite too. I love that.
Didn't get to see that live though. I saw what was it, FOL they played and it was so random they broke that one out too.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think soon after that they played Dross live. I was like, why not at my show?
It makes me sad that it it's not this huge song. It's got I love the attitude of it too.
Hmm.
There's just kind of
It's a
this
single. It's a single.
it's a snarky kind of attitude, you know? It's like I just love it. Um that's a great song. Yeah, I love that song. Home, I believe Home has like one of the most beautiful openings of a song ever. Um, and I think on his Substack, he was asking people like, what song should I break out coming up? And I was just like, Home, like Home. Please Break Out Home. Like that's such a beautiful, beautiful song that I don't think I've ever seen it recorded.
I
Like
don't think
maybe they played it, but I've not seen it.
I have to Google that one. I may have it on a bootleg somewhere.
One thing that I do love, and I find it really cool, is that there's this new wave of Pumpkins fans that are younger that are discovering it. And it's cool to see their favorites because I think that we kind of grew up in a very sarcastic kind of a generation where everybody just like lambasted people of like, of course you like Siamese Dream, right? Like, of course, that's the one. But to see kids come today and they're like, oh, I love, you know, um, Monuments to an Elegy. I love Oceania. I'm like, that's really cool. Like it's something different because for whatever reason, that's the energy or whatever that resonates with them. And that's really cool because you could see, all sorts of generations kind of represented. How are you liking a lot of the new music coming out now? Like Agori Morime, I love that album.
Oh yeah,
It's so hard.
yeah, it's heavy.
I love when they go heavy. Like I love, some the others. I love it when they go heavy. Like I'm a huge fan of when pumpkins go heavy, just because I don't think a lot of people can construct a heavy song in a way that doesn't sound like it's just like a lot of noise.
Hmm.
You know, it's just the way that it is. Um, and what did you? I think that Autumn was really overlooked by people because I think that they kind of didn't understand, but when I listen to it on whole now, like just let's go through the whole thing. Let's just sit down. God, it's just so beautiful.
It's epic. It's a lot. It's
Yeah, it's a lot. And
a lot of
I've heard you
material.
play a lot of the songs on there and it's really beautiful. Do you think that someday that they are going to do the whole thing?
I hope so.
I think that I mean that would be really cool to see. Kind of like a Tommy, the Who's
Right.
Tommy. That would be like really sick. Um,
Yeah.
I've heard like a lot of different, like people that were friends of mine that were Pumpkins fans going, oh, this album, like, I like this song, and I'm like, those are good songs, but I didn't realize because it came out like one by one by one. But and I listened to it one by one by one, but I remember the first day that I was like, okay, I'm just gonna put on my headphones, just lay down and take it in, and it was like, damn, it was a journey.
Hmm. For sure.
I don't want to
Yeah.
say that word anymore. Like Katy Perry's ruined that word. I don't want to say the word journey anymore. It was epic. Let's just say that.
I haven't listened to it front to back in one sitting, but I would do one of the sections at a time, and just lay in the dark and listen to it. And yeah, it's crazy. It's a lot going on.
I love that it just kind of follows this whole entire story. Like for the people that have been with Pumpkins like for a long time to just follow the whole story of June and Ruby and Glass is now shiny. Um, and I think it's hard for a lot of people because they didn't really understand like people that are non-Pumpkins fans, like all that kind of stuff. But I think that Pumpkins fans kind of found it really, really, cool. Seer, those animations, those video animations that went along with, I mean, that was fun to watch too. And I thought, and that was that made me kind of feel happy not having the Machina tunes, like that never
Yeah,
coming to fruition. I was like, oh, this is cool that we can kind of see that now. Um,
the rat in the cage part. That was good. That was
yeah,
good stuff.
yeah, right. That was
Yeah,
really, really cool.
you snuck that
Um,
in there.
have you gone up to Madame Zuzu's yet?
Not yet, not yet.
Not.
We won tickets to the Metro show in 2022,
Mhm.
and me and my wife drove up there. It was a major rush trip. Like I think I left work, drove all night, got there, got an hour sleep, got in line. It rained on us in line for about an hour, and I think we ended up third row. But that was like my holy grail pumpkin show. I got to see them at the Metro, but then we
Yeah.
had to drive straight home after the show. on an hour
And
of sleep.
how long is it a drive back to Mississippi?
Uh, 11 hours, I think. I think it was 11. Yeah, it was a just a whirlwind of a trip, but I have the show in pro shot quality, so I can go back and watch it now. So
That's
yeah,
cool. And from the third row, right?
yeah, yeah.
That's amazing. And did you get to you won tickets to the show? Did you get to like do a meet and greet after or
No, no, I wish. We saw Billy pull in, and he pulled in right by the crowd, and everybody's freaking out, and then they went in, I guess, sound checked and everything. But
yeah.
yeah, that was about it. But it was a great show.
I don't think if you've been to a Pumpkin show, like Pumpkins fans know that he's quite funny. You know, the banter that he has with the audience is it's quite funny. And I don't think that a lot of people in the press know how funny he is. And if people in the press write about him, but you haven't gone to a show or you don't know anything about him, they take him so seriously and he gets a bad rap, you know, a lot of times with press. But if you are a Pumpkins fan and you've gone to Pumpkin show, you know he's actually pretty funny.
But yeah, yeah,
And
he's a
like
good
he's
guy
super
too.
yeah, he's, you know, one of the best human beings that I've ever met. Just a solid human being. Like and I've been fortunate enough to meet a lot of cool people. Um but like not everybody's like the super solid, like he's a super solid human being.
Yeah,
Um
absolutely.
when we're talking about you playing, do you give guitar lessons to other people? Like, does somebody come up to you and say, "Hey, I want to play like you"?
They've tried, but I've done lessons, and it was only like younger kids, and they wouldn't go home and practice, and it just never worked out. And
Yeah,
there's not many people around here that even play. Like I got lucky. I found a band that we stayed together long enough to release some stuff and chart and did some touring and stuff.
yeah.
But yeah, it's
And
not
did you
much
play
around
rock or
here.
did you play country?
No country.
No country at all.
just just it was more like kind of like Breaking Benjamin type rock, heavier
Yeah.
rock. But
Did being in Mississippi, did a lot of national tours of different bands ever, did they come through a lot or not too much?
usually Memphis, we would have to go to Memphis, and like if we wanted to play with any bands, they would come to like Tupelo, and it was bands like Saliva and Seven Dust. We did a tour with Seven Dust. Um, we and one of those, you kind of have to pay to get on a lot of those tours. So
Yeah.
luckily we had a backer for that. But yeah, it's good fun. It's just not much around here, not much rock.
Yeah. How did you first hear the Pumpkins? Was it like on MTV? Was it on the radio?
It's kind of funny that I told you about the jukebox thing. I was in a little game room. I heard mayonnaise, or I saw
Yeah.
mayonnaise on the thing, and I was like, I've got to hear this just to see what
Yeah.
this song is. It sounds like. And from there, I remember we used to go to a hotel in Memphis. I always got my choice. I got either a pool at one hotel, or I would get MTV for Beavis and Butthead. So
Wow.
my parents would let me pick which hotel. And when I picked the Beavis and Butthead, I remember seeing Tonight Tonight. Like, what is this? It's crazy.
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah.
another one of my first introductions.
Which is, I mean, a beautiful, I mean, I think it got the Video Vanguard Award, I believe that year. Um, it's a gorgeous, gorgeous video. It plays, you know, tribute to George Méliès's video, A Trip to the Moon. Um, which, you know what, I used to have this fact that I read that that film was bootlegged. Like the original film was one of the first bootlegs, and it was Thomas Edison like bootlegged it, and then recently, like I've been on these like just I'm obsessed with ChatGPT, like finding stuff out about the world, like just like is this true? Fact check for me, and it told me that it wasn't. There was a lot of people that actually it wasn't like Thomas Edison alone was a bootlegger, and I kind of like Thomas Edison like less. I don't know. There was something like him being a bootlegger, like kind of like I thought, oh, that's kind of cool in a rebellious kind of way, right? That's a such a beautiful video. Do you think that the video helped kind of take them over? Like some people would say that the videos are also of that time, just not just for Pumpkins, but that era of music videos being so strong helped so many bands kind of take off in the stratosphere.
Yeah, I think that had a lot to do with it. Just 'cause the imagery. Nobody was doing it like that.
Yeah.
They had their own thing. So
And every video was really cool. Like I found so many different, video, and even when you're looking at a lot of the Euphoria stuff, which a lot of that was shot by Kevin Kerslake, who is a great director. He's, I think, won a video MTV Music Award for, was it In Bloom? I believe it was In Bloom, for Nirvana's In Bloom. Um, but I always loved how Kevin uses like lights, like just all those just like moody kind of lights that you saw like in Euphoria. And I think he did I Am One as
mhm.
well.
Yep.
And so how he did I Am One was really based, like how I decided, like I went into just amateur music photography. And I told Kevin, I'm like, it was just really based on the I Am One video. Like my aesthetic for photography was always capturing the lights with not so much like the playing, because people were going to have these like print type pictures of bands, in the things. But I'm like, I wanted that lighting mood. And it was really based off I Am One, which is cool. So it's like, I think that he and everything that he did kind of inspired other things, which is kind of really cool. So you've got that video. Do you have any other favorite videos of theirs?
Everlasting Gaze was always interesting. They're smashing everything.
Yeah,
That was a
that's.
good one.
I love kind of the fisheye, just the movements. There was something really snarky about his movements. I love that era though. I love the outfits of that era. Um, I yeah, I Machina. Like I said, it's because personally he's a friend, and I know that was just such a tumultuous time. And it's like hard to say, like, God, I love it so much when it's like worst time of your life, but it's like, oh, I love it. I love everything that came. But like, you know, through emotion, whatever art, whatever happened that created that, I'm, thankful, as much as tortured artists go through, right?
Right.
Um, some of those songs, Stand Inside Your Love, probably one of the most beautiful songs I think that they've ever written. I mean, I think one of the most beautiful songs ever. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous song. The
Interesting video
video,
too. Yeah.
the video is really, really super cool. I mean, it was borderline creepy, but that's kind of like it was perfect. Like not creepy, like what just the dude was creepy. I mean,
Hmm.
but I know he was a really nice guy. Like I remember seeing something, I don't know where I saw some video where he was talking with him after. It was like a behind the scenes, and the guy seemed like totally nice. And I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's cool. He seems totally nice." Because I thought for years he's so creepy and
He
slimy.
was
And
he was good on Borat. Did you see him on that?
no, I've never seen Borat.
He was good on that.
So yeah, like he just kind of gives off those vibes, right? But yeah, it was such a beautiful video. I really do like the imagery of the Pumpkins aesthetic from Adore to Machina. I liked that dark. I think because they went more goth,
Hmm.
and I was very gothy growing up, so I think that kind of really resonated with me. Just that. But then again, then you move over into Zeitgeist, and I loved that aesthetic and imagery, and I love that energy. And that's why it's like people are like, oh, this band has changed, but it's like we change, and so it's like I don't stay the same. And so the band kind of almost mirrors, like, I think what the energy of what's going on at the time. That was a chaotic time, Zeitgeist, just the world. And
Yeah.
I think the cover for Tarantula was kind of prophetic, it's just like, um, I've seen you been playing Zeitgeist a lot, and I know that you love playing songs from that. Do you have a favorite? It's probably going to be United States.
Probably. Yeah. That one and Tarantula is always fun.
You know what I found funny, and you might remember this. When they were touring with Zeitgeist, I remember sometimes they were doing like a 30-minute version. Like if you're a Pumpkins fan, right? You're like, oh, sick, right? But there were so many people that were like 30 minutes of this. And it's like, man, there's so many bands that play 50 minutes and that's it, right? But I felt so bad for them because they were like doing 3-hour shows a night and people are like, it's just too long. It's like, poor guy can't make anybody happy, right? It's like,
And Gossamer.
yeah, God, I remember that people complaining about Gossamer.
I never got
But
to see
that's
that one live.
really,
Actually, I take it back. I saw him play Gossamer. This last show they played in Mississippi. They played South Haven. I did get to see them. They didn't play the long version though, but
yeah,
it was still good.
yeah. I don't think a lot of people realize that like the amount of practice that they like a lot of, I mean, I know bands that don't practice. They go to sound check for 15 minutes and then they, go and do a concert. But they put in a lot of work, a lot of practice, and I think that that shows in the musicianship of them when they play. How many hours do you practice a day, would you say?
Depending on work, I'll run anywhere from 10 to 25 songs. So most days.
And do you find that over time that just helps with everything? Like, does it, because some people say it's hard for me, like when people are first starting out, like I've heard some of my kids, friends say, oh, it's hard, holding the chords. And they bought these like things, those, I don't know what they're, those exercise things that
Hmm.
like their music instructor said to strengthen up their muscles and stuff like that. And I told them, I'm like, yeah, but I think that if you just keep practicing every day, that's just going to work itself out, right? You just need to practice every day. And they're mostly, I'm like, you're spending more time doing this instead of like actually
And not
playing.
any of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, I think you should just, like, I'm no music teacher, but I think that you should just play. Right. And they're like, no, but the music teacher says I did. I'm like,
Most it's muscle memory.
your lovely wife. Um, I'm sure it must help having a supportive wife. Like, how supportive is she of what you're playing? Because how long does it take you to do 10 to 25 songs a night?
10 songs, maybe 45 minutes. It's
That's
that's
not
not
bad.
bad. Yeah,
It's not bad at all.
it depends on the work day too. Like I work on computers all day, so a lot of times I can leave early, you know, and because I'll do after hours work a lot of times. So
Yeah.
then I can put more time into family time and then play for a couple hours. And
Does she like listening to you?
I get a little loud.
Yeah.
The
And what
the
about the rest of your family?
they don't mind it. They don't mind it.
Yeah.
It's just roaring up here. It's tube amps. It's loud
Have
tube
you
amps.
tried like like soundproofed it?
No. No, no need.
No need, right? They're
No.
just gonna have a nightly pump. Do you like to play other songs, other bands as well? Is there fun
Yeah,
bands
yeah,
to
yeah.
play?
Yeah, I play I just random things, mostly hard rock stuff, but yeah, some original stuff. I'll go through my old songs that I recorded and just run through those. Mostly pumpkins though.
Yeah. Now you were talking about having a band. How did you find a band? Like, because you were saying that there's not like a lot of music venues, not a lot of people listening. How did you find the members of that band?
If I remember right, I think it was in the classifieds. The book, the classifieds book. Um, I was around 15 or 16 years old, and somebody called me out of it, and I went and tried out, and it worked out. So me and one other guy, we ended up writing songs and had a fairly decent single, which he passed away before we actually got to release that single, but that charted. So, but his
Wow.
his his daddy gave us the blessing and helped us financially put it out, and it was a good little tribute for him.
Is it on like streaming platforms now?
Yeah, it's still on streaming. It's on YouTube, Spotify.
Nice. Maybe I'll attach it to this somehow to listen to it.
Okay.
You know, it's funny. So Justin Corwin was supposed to be on, and he said that he's a night owl and he doesn't fall asleep, and he either a fell asleep or whatever. But he's got also a YouTube. Both of you guys have YouTubes, and I think that that's really cool. I've watched both of your. That's how like he added me as a friend. I was like, oh, I've seen your deep dives because I love watching the deep dives.
Yeah,
Um, and I suck at all this kind of stuff like this. I'm just learning as I go, and I don't really want to do much more than what I'm doing. Because I like the conversations more than anything else. They're going to be going out doing this whole new Machines of God thing. Um, how likely are you going to try to get to that? There's Kiki's in it.
there's yep, and Jenna Fournier and Jake. What's his last name? He's in the band Dorothy. I can't think
Okay.
of his. It starts with an H. I can't remember his last name, but I saw him play Everlasting Gaze, and he's killing it.
Wow.
So he's kind of got the jazz swing.
Yeah, yeah. That's really cool. Did you ever get to see them when he played with Swan?
No, I wish.
I would have
I
loved to
miss
go and
that.
see that.
I don't think
Yeah.
they came too close to where I live. They maybe Missouri.
Yeah.
So I don't
I
think they came too
love
close.
that's another album I know that's tumultuous times, but I love I love that album. And I know that it was, like I said, it's tough because I know personally that because he's talked about it publicly that it was tough. But it's like it had, David Pahonen who was in Slint, which I
Uh-huh.
love Slint. I love Slint. Slint was a band that taught me like because I wanted to play guitar. I loved music and I got guitar lessons from this guy that was like a winner of like John Denver contests, like singing contests. And he was like this Filipino dude, but he was like, he sounded exactly like John Denver. He was really cool. But I didn't want to learn structure. I didn't want to learn theory. I didn't want to do all that. And so like I gave it up. And then I heard Spiderland from Slint. And I was like, oh, I don't have to play music. Like I could just do whatever I want. So that was such a huge turning point for me. So to have him in that band, that was exciting. And then to have Paz out there, I'm like, oh, that's exciting. And it, unfortunately died out. But the music from that is still solid, still some of my favorite music. I had a friend that had a record shop and he's a huge Pumpkins fan. Um, and he was playing Zwan, and one day Jack Black came into his record shop and was like, and he was playing Endless Summer, and
Uh-huh.
Jack Black was like, is that not Jack Black, Jack White? Is that the new? He's like, is that the new pump? And this was not long after Zeitgeist, right? It was
Uh-huh.
maybe like a year or two after Zeitgeist. And he was like, is that the new Pumpkins album? And he's like, no, this is Zwan. And he left with Zwan because he liked him. I'm like, that's really cool. Like,
Yeah,
I like that.
I got a funny little random Swan story.
Tell me,
um,
tell me.
David and Paz. What was the band that they did after that?
It's
They
Perfect Circle.
no,
Not Perfect Circle.
no. The Entrance, was it the Entrance band? Papa M. It was David's Papa M, and the Entrance was opening for him in Memphis. It's a place called Young Avenue Deli. It's a little small place, and this was I think it was 2003. And me and my parents went. I think it was my 19th birthday. So they got tickets just so I could go and see David and Paz play. And I walked in with a Zwan Honestly single and got to meet them. Super nice
Yeah,
people.
yeah,
They took pictures and everything and signed all my stuff. And I bought CDs from him, a vinyl and everything. And anyway, I think was it the next week? Maybe I heard that they Zwan was breaking up. It's just I had no idea. And now I kind of understood that there was a little bit of awkwardness with them. When I brought up the Zwan stuff. And looking
yeah.
back, I guess that's why, because it was crumbling already. But
Nobody knows what goes on behind closed doors, but it's kind of sad when it's like, oh, you like this person, you like this person, you don't know what's going on, and it's like, oh, I don't want them to break up. Um, and because like I was happy when she went over to the Pixies, I was like, oh, that's rad, and then all of a sudden the Pixies like, yeah, she's not in the Pixies anymore, and I was like, oh, again, that's sad. I really did want to talk to you because I don't know if you've ever watched our podcast, but like a lot of times, my friend Anu, she's got Legends of Music, and he's got like 1 million subscribers, right? But
hmm
when we became friends, I followed him one day. He had like 60,000 people, but he was posting all this pumpkin stuff. And that's the thing that I love about the pumpkins. And so I was watching it and I'm like, oh, I hadn't. And then he had some stories. And that's what I love about his account on Legends of Music. It's like he was writing these stories about bands, right? Like I didn't know it. And so he had this one story and it said, blah, blah, blah. Billy Corgan was at some Cheap Trick show, and then they threw out this vinyl record, and Billy caught it. And it was like this whole like story. And I'm like, I've never heard this story. So like I remember I sent him a message. I'm like, is this true? I've never heard this story before. He's like, yeah. He's like, I have it in my office still. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. So I was like, so I went back to Anuja's account and I was like, just looking at reading all the stories. And he just basically said, I'm learning about music and I'm just sharing what I learned. And so
Wow.
like I sent him this thing and I was like, you know what? And me and my kid ended up spending like 2 hours on his page because we were just like reading all the stories. And at that time, like I said, he had 60,000 followers and he was into like a lot of grungy bands at the time. So, and I liked listening to reading all the little stories. And so I sent him a message. I'm like, we really appreciate your page. Like me and my son just spent like 2 hours on here. You know, I just wanted to say thanks, for putting the effort into this. And he wrote me back right away and he was like, oh, thank you so much. He's like, I'm just a kid, I'm from like Dubai. And I was like, what? And he's like, oh, I'm just an Indian kid from Dubai. I just love music and I'm learning about it. And so I was like, I want to hear your story. Like, how does an Indian kid from Dubai I mean, I don't want to sound ignorant. I don't know what the music scene in Dubai is. I wouldn't assume it would be grunge. So tell me your story. Like, tell me how you discovered that. And it was such an interesting story. And that's how we became friends. And like, he's like one of my best friends. And I'm super close to his mom. Like, his mom's like a little bit older than me. And I love him, but I love that his discovery of music is from such a pure place. He doesn't monetize his account at all.
Right.
Like he's got 1 million followers. He doesn't do ads. There's nothing. He doesn't do paid partnerships. It's just like this kid that loves music. And I think that that's the thing I love about Pumpkins fans. It's like true Pumpkins fans are really so lovely like that. Um, then you've got this like other tier of Pumpkins fans, which are mean girl pumpkin fans. You know what I'm talking
Talking
about?
about hate for you.
Justin's probably sad that he's gonna not be here when I'm gonna reveal something that I've never revealed before publicly, except to maybe like 3 people. Do you remember there was a time that so if you're not a Pumpkins fan, there's a site called Netforia. It's kind of a play off Viewforia, and it was a place for Pumpkins fans to go. It's a message board, and there's lovely people on there, but there's also unlovely people on there. And it was really hard, I think, for people like if you were a Pumpkins fan and you wanted to go and just have a legit conversation about a band that you love, that there was so much snark, so much
Mm.
vitriol, so much whatever. So I decided one day, I was just like so over it. I made a site and it was called fucknetforia.org. That was me.
Wow.
That was me. And and I remember like they were totally hating on my site, like who can make this? And it was just really honestly, because it was just like it's so toxic over there. They were so toxic. They were so toxic to people, young women that were associated with Billy. They were toxic. I won't say it because she works with him still, but they were so toxic to what I would say was a young girl at the time, like super,
Right.
super toxic. I'm like, I hate this site. So I made the FuckNet for you for a while. And it was just mirror of that. But I met such like cool people and we got to talk for a long time. We just talked music and it was like the best. I don't even know if I told Billy that I was FuckNet for you, but yeah, I was FuckNet for you. And it was lovely. And there, I met people on there that are like my friends to this day. And we talk, just talk Pumpkin song, things that we like. And, oh, did you ever hear this version? Like to this day, he's written so much music. And I don't think people understand how much music he's written. He's written so much music that there's like so many different versions and nuanced versions that it's so fun to hear and listen to. I hope someday he has like a complete anthology. And I'd be surprised to see who has a bigger anthology, him or Robert Pollard. Because Robert
Right.
Pollard, Guided by Voices, also has 800,000 songs. Even though Charles Thompson, aka Frank Black Francis, has tons of music, I want to hear it all. Like I would be so excited to have a complete Pumpkins anthology.
Oh, I'd love to have access to the tapes.
I
It'd be
mean,
amazing.
I have heard some really cool like beginnings of stuff that I
Hmm.
don't know is released. And it's like, oh man, that's like, it's interesting to watch the birth of a song. I think for
Hmm.
anybody, the birth of a song is like so beautiful. And sometimes it's so, I love when bands release like a demo version because you could see like the trajectory of like where something went. And that's really cool. Um, I don't want to keep you. I know it's late. I know you've got to do stuff. I'm so stoked to have you on here. Like
I appreciate you having me.
I would love to talk more. I know it's like super late because we're on two different time zones. Like we're exactly 12 hours apart. Um, but I would love to have you on again because I'd love to just talk more pumpkin stuff.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I could talk like pumpkin playing. Like I said, I've now fixed my whole entire thing because every time like I would come on because I never have my phone on me. Like I hate the phone. I hate social media. Um, my podcast like is at first we tried to do like all the platforms and I'm like I hate this. Like I
Hmm.
don't like I like recording conversations, but I don't like doing all the other stuff. So I'm
Right.
like, I'm just doing Instagram now and that's it. Like I don't care. Like if people are gonna find us, they're gonna find us. And if they don't, you know, they
Yeah,
weren't meant for us.
I'm the same way with the social media. I have my music page, and that's about it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't really do Facebook or anything.
So I don't even have notifications on my phone. I don't even have vibrate. People are like, well, what do you do when you get a call? I'm like, I said, if I happen to be looking at my phone and you're calling, it's your lucky day. I'm like, but aside from that, they're like, what if your son has emergency? I'm like, well, important people in my life have like an emergency breakthrough, like it comes through, but everything else I don't have. And so every time I grab my phone, it was like, BJ just recorded. I was like, God damn it. And I was like, because I'm so lucky sometimes when I get on there, like, and you just happen to go on. I'm like, yeah, and I'll sit and I'm like my morning is wasted. I'm like, okay, this is what I'm doing this morning. Like I was gonna do something else, but this is what I'm doing for the next 40 minutes. But now I've figured out a way that I will get all notifications when you come on.
Well,
And so like I'm excited.
I'm gonna get brave and do Zeitgeist front to back. It won't be long. I'll get brave and do it.
Please send me like a text heads up ahead of time because I totally fully want to be there for that. Um, we were so lucky during Zeitgeist that when they went on tour, there were so many, I think Rock Am Ring, they broadcasted it live, but it was so cool to see that. It was a great year. Like God, everything around that album was like kind of perfect. And people were really hard on the band at the time because they were like, Darcy's not there, James aren't there. But people go back and look at Zeitgeist, look at the concerts at that time. It was so solid,
Oh, they were
so
on
solid.
fire. They were on fire.
Yeah,
That's
I
pr-
mean,
besides. I mean, that may be the most tight, playing fast tight I've ever heard them.
yeah,
You know, because they were still playing stuff, rushing things. You know, it's always fun to do that, but
yeah,
they were
yeah.
extremely tight.
There was and I think that the energy at the time that I really loved the energy. They recorded. I went to two different studios. They did one at the Pass, and then they went to the other studio when they were working with Roy, who just
Hmm.
passed.
Yeah,
Um,
I saw that.
I'll tell you my experiences with Roy because I was just telling somebody the other day. I said there's sometimes you meet energies in life, and like this energy is different from all the other energies, right? There's something about this person. They just vibrate, and you can now see why they're so successful in everything that they do. They just vibrate on a different frequency, right? He was upon seeing him, he already looks like larger than life, right? He looks like it's like just seeing him the first time, it's like, whoa, dude, like, you're cool. Like you did Bohemian Rhapsody, right? There's like this lore
Yeah.
that goes with him. The man is like so incredibly lovely. I on one occasion I had my goddaughter come to the studio with my best friend, and my goddaughter was like 3, and he was like so lovely. He was came over to talk to her, like obviously liked little children, but came over to talk to her, but everything that he said was like so like every other word was fucking this, like that. He's like, it was such a lovely thing because you could see he was like trying to control the vulgarity, but
Hmm.
obviously like could
That's just
not.
him.
That's just him, right? But it's just so lovely. And then this other time, my cousin was visiting from Thailand with his girlfriend, and we had just like been up to Disneyland for the day. And so I texted Billy. I'm like, oh, hey, we're up in LA. I'm just saying hi as we drive by. And he's like, no, no, come to the studio. So we came to the studio, and Roy was like so he found it so amusing that my cousins like had no idea. Like they did not know any idea who anybody was, the significance of like they were there, like these songs are being played, had like no clue. Like Roy was giving him CDs, Billy's giving it, you haven't heard the pumpkin, here's some CDs, giving my cousin's girlfriends all these CDs, and she's just like K-pop.
Wow.
Word to K-pop. And it was so funny because he just sat there talking to them, had they like what kind of music do you listen to? Jap, like he was trying to, here's Roy trying to understand, like, how did these two people never heard of Queen? They've never heard of the Pumpkins. They have no idea where they are. They're just, he's like, so how was Disneyland? And they're like, Disneyland was great.
Disney.
Yeah. But so I sent something to Billy yesterday. I'm like, that's kind of what my memory of Roy is, that he was just like so lovely, like a person, like foul mouth, but just a genuinely lovely like he could have been like, I recorded Bohemian Rhapsody. I don't need to
Hmm.
talk to you. I don't need to engage with you. I
Right.
could be whatever, but
Just a
just
normal
lovely.
person.
Yeah, just really lovely, which was different. Like I don't I think that I could say this because it's just my experience, which was a different experience of being in a studio with Terry Date. Energy was different. Like I would just say it was a different energy. Like cool stories,
Hmm.
like got cool stories, cool background, just different energy. Like I think that Roy's energy suited them much more than Terry's energy. I remember leaving, and I was driving back with my dad, and he's like, I don't like that guy. And I remember like texting Billy, I'm like, Dad doesn't like him. And he's like, why? That it was like, why? Like, we want to know, like, why? What did he say? What did he feel? And like, he just didn't like him. I don't know. He just didn't like that guy. Just different energy. So, like, I think that the zeitgeist energy actually was really, really good at that time. So, I think, yeah, I was excited to see all those songs played. I hope more get played in the future because they're solid, solid songs. And
Yeah.
I can't wait until the day that they maybe put them online so more people can, like, people can find. If you can't, people ask, why isn't Zeitgeist on there? He's explained it a million times. I don't need to explain it. But you can go onto YouTube. A lot of people put the songs up all on YouTube. There's a lot of great songs from that. I just found actually something that you might find really cool. Somebody put together a playlist on YouTube of all the songs from that era chronologically as best they could,
Yeah.
including all the Tear Garden songs and including all the residency songs that were, written on there, the If All Goes Wrong. And they just did this kind of it was really cool. I was like, oh, and I'd never heard it like that before. And there's stuff that you can miss. So it was like really cool. And I think that just goes to show the love of Pumpkins fans have to take the time to do
Yeah.
something like that. You know, um, there's great sites that the Smashing Pumpkins filing cabinet, of people putting stuff, trying to archive stuff. So I think that that's like super, super amazing.
I think Geo's fixing to have his hands full. I think it's gonna
Yeah.
be really good.
That's on my bucket list someday. I've told him, I'm like, I really, really want to get out there. I really want to see it. Um, because I don't think that people, Geo Folkers is, he has a collection of, um, beautiful, beautiful everything Smashing Pumpkins. But if you don't, if you're like a big fan, you'll see the attention to detail that he even has like ceiling tiles from the first Zuzus. Like I caught that. I was like, you have the ceiling tiles. He's like, oh, you caught that. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, that's amazing.
Yeah, he's got the sign from Chicago 21, the building they played their first show in. Yeah, he has the sign.
I wonder how much he's invested in that all.
No
Like
telling.
I can ask you how much you've invested in Smashing Pumpkins gear. It's like I'm sure it's a, and that just goes to show that the love, right? How many pieces do you still have that are
The
original?
the only other piece of Billy's that I have is the switching system from the Machina system that switched his pedals and amps, and it works. It still works.
Nice. And there,
But
do they still have the original settings and markings?
well, it's I've actually got it right here. Hold on. It's just a switching system. Lights. I've got
Yeah.
a controller for it, but it was the main one.
Nice.
And I was trying my best to build up the. I was trying to build the a replica of the Machina rig in a small form factor because it was
Yeah.
just insane. But somebody offered me some money on that app, and I just couldn't turn it down at the time.
Yeah.
I had to
Yeah.
catch up on some things, but
I hope it gets back to you.
I hope so. One day.
Thank you, BJ, for coming on.
Well, I appreciate it.
I love, love, love talking to you. And I'd love to talk to you again more about pumpkin stuff because you're the guy to talk to about. I want to get more into like deconstructing stuff, and I know it's late, so like I don't want to take too much of your time up. But yeah, we'll get back on again.
All right. Yeah. Anytime. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, BJ.